In today's video, we're going to tell you about Lake Karachay, the world's deadliest lake on Earth. Lake Karachay, also known as Karachay or Karachay, is located in Russia's Chelyabinsk region in the southern Ural Mountains, near the border with Kazakhstan. The lake is considered one of the most polluted places on Earth because of the nuclear weapons and other radioactive waste dumped there between 1951 and 1953. The lake was used as a nuclear waste storage facility, but is currently filled with hollow concrete and acts as a permanent radioactive waste storage facility. The radioactive waste in the lake presents an ecological problem and pollutes the air and underground water. The lake derives its name from the Turkic word Karachay, meaning black creek or black water. History of Lake Karachay. What makes it deadly? Mayak, located in the North Chelyabinsk region, is one of Russia's largest nuclear facilities. The nuclear processing facility was secretly built between 1946 and 1948 and was only known to the public in 1990. The area was open for public access in 1992, after President Boris Yeltsin's decree. The plant supported the Soviet atomic project and was the first facility to create plutonium in Russia. The work at the facility followed the Stalinist procedure, with Lavrentiy Beria as the supervisor. Stalin aimed to produce enough nuclear weapons to match the United States at the time. However, the activities at Mayak became a contamination source in northern Chelyabinsk and the Ural region. The radioactive pollution was caused mainly by a lack of nuclear technology, lack of knowledge about the effects of radioactive material on the environment, and a lack of a safe method of waste disposal. Workers' safety and welfare were given little to no consideration. In October 1951, the Mayak plant began using Lake Karachay to store nuclear waste to stop them from getting into Techa, one of the main rivers in the region. The lake was nearer to the facility than Lake Kyshtym and was a designated dumping ground for large quantities of radioactive waste because it could not provide sufficient cooling water. However, the underground vats exploded and contaminated the entire Mayak and nearby areas. After the explosion, the administration took greater caution and spread the dumping grounds to several areas, including Lake Karachay. The lake began dying in the 1960s, with its surface area dropping to 0.15 square kilometers in 1993, from 0.5 square kilometers in 1951. In 1968, the wind blew away exposed and contaminated silt away from the lake, with the dust affecting about 500,000 people. What's the current status? Lake Karachay is currently filled with concrete blocks, placed there between 1978 and 1986. However, the hollow concrete has only prevented the lake from shifting away and not solved the pollution problem. Today, Karachay is the Earth's most polluted place, containing 4.4 hexabecquerels of radioactive material over less than a square kilometer of water. The amount of underground water contaminated by the radioactive waste in Karachay is approximately 5 million cubic meters. Since the lake is a water-parting site, experts warn that even if the lake disappears from Earth, the effects related to its pollution will last for a long time. What happens if you swim in Lake Karachay? Tucked away in the southern Ural mountain range is an extremely dangerous zone, more polluted than Chernobyl. The lake, also known as Reservoir 9 or V9 Water Reservoir, is one of the most deadly bodies of water in the world. It's so polluted that spending 30 minutes there would kill you. It was also affected by a string of accidents and disasters, causing the surrounding areas to be highly contaminated with radioactive waste. The name Karachay means black water or black creek in several northwestern Turkic languages, including Tatar. The discovery was immediately declared by the Western scientists who gained access to the area as terrifying, commenting that this postcard-looking lake was the most polluted place in the entire planet. And still is. How radioactive is it? When you think of a lake, you might have beautiful images about it. Sparkling water surface hit by the morning sun, swimming swans, or the romantic mirrored sunset. But in Lake Karachay, spending an hour on its bank could mean death. Not exactly like the lakes you visited, right? So how radioactive is the lake that makes it so dangerous? It is the most polluted lake on Earth. The Soviet Union started to use Karachay as a dumping site in 1951 for radioactive waste. Although today the lake is completely filled in, almost the whole bed of the lake is composed of high levels of radioactive waste. Considering the size of Karachay, that is not so big, only about 45 hectares. The level of exabecquerels reaches 4.44 with 3.6 equibecquerels of caesium-137. That number is way higher than Chernobyl, that released only 0.085 exabecquerels caesium-137. What is caesium-137? It is a radioactive isotope used in nuclear reactors and nuclear weapons. It is water-soluble, and once it enters the blood can easily be distributed to the whole body and can cause death. You can imagine how much of the compound you can possibly inhale while staying around the lake and endangering your health. Can tourists visit the lake? Maybe you wonder, how is it doing today? Is it safe to be visited? Has it turned into a tourist attraction? The answer is no. Not yet, and perhaps never will be. Although the experts say it is safe after being sealed with concrete, continuous monitoring still has to be done. This monitoring will take years considering the amount of waste sleeping under the floor of the lake. The experts will make sure no radiation leak happens, no movement of ground, and no more contamination to any of the nearby water sources that people use for their daily needs. In the future, layers of rubble and solid will be added above the concrete so bushes and grass can be grown there to cover the whole area of Karachay. Planting of trees will be prohibited because the growth of the root can ruin the concrete layer and may cause a leak. You can see how serious the pollution of Karachay is from all of the treatment plans and how careful the experts handled the site. What happened to the people who lived around the lake and Mayak plant? Mayak was a secret until it started to appear on the map in the 1990s. But Karachay can clearly be located if you try and look it up. When did radioactive waste dumping start to take place? They clearly got poisoned. Besides Karachay, the waste was also thrown into Techa River that became the water source to the majority of the people there. After consuming the water for some time before the warning turned up, sickness started to spread. Cancer increased by 21%, birth defects by 25%, and leukemia by 41%, all because of the nuclear waste. Some people tried to move upward to the Ural Mountains, but a lot of them didn't survive for long because the pollutant already made its way into their system. Under tight observation though, the water of Techa River can now be safely consumed.